thing about life is people gonna talk about you regardless of what you're doing. So stay focused, stay on your grind, and pay them the mind.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Evangel. This is One Thing About Life. And on today's episode, it's going to be really interesting. I have two guests with me today, and we're going to be talking about long form and short form content. So let me just hand over the mic and let them introduce themselves. Maggie, why don't you go ahead?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Maggie, and I'm a social media strategist and email marketer.
All right. Okay. Diana, you next.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited. This is my first podcast.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much, Evangel, for asking me. And I am currently a brand content and global social media manager, and really happy and excited to start talking about content.
All right. Thank you, Dina. Thank you, Maggie. Without further ado, let's dive right in. Long form and short form content. Let's start by just talking about what it is, right? What is long form? What is short form? Dina, why don't you go ahead?
Well, I was looking online and doing some research in terms of like actual industry definitions. And in terms of like long form and short form content, like that terminology derives from more like content marketing. Like we're talking about like blogs, emails, really solid long form content versus when we're talking about social media, we translate it a little bit differently. So according to SEMrush, who is obviously looking at this from like a content marketing perspective, they say short form content is anything under 1,000 words. And then long form content is anything over 1,000 words. So you're looking at like white papers, much longer blog posts and stuff like that. But here and today, in the context of social media, we're looking at short form content primarily in the area of video. Obviously, we're looking at like under a minute, even like under 15-second videos, short clips, GIFs, at a certain extent, static images, depending on how much content's on them. So we're really looking at that very short attention span social media content. So it definitely doesn't relate in the same way as content marketing, because if it's over 1,000 words on social media, that is 100% long form.
Definitely.
I mean, and in that vein, when we're looking at long form content, we're looking at video and content, including blogs, depending on how you use your social media accounts, that are, of course, much longer. So this means like YouTube videos, which are not usually 15 seconds,
Sure.
unless you're looking at shorts, long blog email, long blog messages, to a certain extent, even Instagram posts, which have started to become like a more SEO focused blog format, depending on the user, and Instagram's beginning to support much longer text and content in that area as well. So it really depends. I wouldn't even say on like a platform by platform basis. It's more of a post by post basis that you're looking at whether or not a piece of content is really short form or long form. And at this point with users on social media, it's almost like a gut feeling. Like you can tell when something's going to be like a long form series piece of content on TikTok even, which is a short form video platform. Like I wouldn't call a TikTok series or like a series of three-minute videos on TikTok short form content, right? So it really depends, I think, on like a post by post basis and how the user is approaching that content, whether or not they want it to be quick and snackable or they want it to be long, informative, and grow over time.
Nice. Like that's a whole lot, Dina. Mike, what do you have to add to this? I know Dina's probably saying it all right.
I'm sorry.
I don't think I have much to add. I think the only thing I would say is I think it's up to the platforms that you're using to decide what they consider long form and what they consider short form.
Okay.
Because YouTube, it's pretty clear. YouTube, I think, is the only one who has a real clear definition of what they consider long and short, because they have shorts that are under, I believe it's up to 60 seconds. And then you have the longer form videos, which even in themselves, they have a different type of dimension. It's landscape, whereas your shorts are like vertical. Instagram like recently now decided to change all of their videos to now reels. So now, as we know, the world of reels of being videos that are supposed to be very quick, and it was 90 seconds long, which was the maximum limit. Now we're hearing that, all your lives, if you save it, they would just turn into reels now. So they're now changing all of their video content into one folder because they said they want it to be easier to find videos. So there's good and bad in it, in that I guess people can use it to their own advantage, that if someone's clicking through, they have the choice if they want to watch a long video, but because it shows it's a reel, they
Mhm.
might be more inclined to watch it versus a video that's showed as a regular video.
No, for sure. And I mean, I think we all kind of felt that like with the close of IGTV and that really weird place that like Instagram was with video, like, and even TikTok, like trying to extend their videos to like 10 minutes, like that's not
I think
short
it's
form
I
content.
think it's still
Yeah.
there, but I think you
Mhm.
have to have a certain amount
Oh,
of
for sure.
followers to
Yeah,
have
yeah.
it. So yeah, I think
It's just getting kind of fuzzy at
it
this point.
is.
Like
Mhm.
exactly. Who would have thought that TikTok would be trying to do long form?
Yeah.
This is like very random, but I don't know if anyone saw that there was a beta test for the desktop version of TikTok and it looked suspiciously like
Like
YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. Like literally the whole aesthetic of YouTube, the exact way you see how YouTube is like laid out.
TikTok's pulling a Facebook. Like
Yeah.
Exactly. If you want to do that, like you definitely have to go to YouTube and see what they're doing, right? You know,
Mhm.
because YouTube is like the standard, right?
Mhm.
really the video king. Like still, so much data supports that.
Yeah.
So yes, now that we're talking about YouTube, I think it's a good time to talk about monetization and
Oh.
income. So who wants to go first?
I guess I could start. So with monetization on YouTube, so it definitely has its criteria. I mean, all the platforms do, but I think the difference with YouTube, why it still makes them king, is it doesn't have a lot of restrictions. So for example, Instagram Reels bonus are only available for those in the US, whereas YouTube, there are a lot of countries that would be eligible for being monetized. I'm not really sure off the top of my head what countries don't qualify, but their requirements is pretty much 1,000 subscribers within a year and 4,000 watch hours. Now, the only challenge, of course, which we'll probably talk about later on when we talk about pros and cons, would definitely be the type of content you're doing to ensure that you get to that watch time amount for you to qualify. But what I've seen people do is once they have really good content, they don't even really have to wait to qualify to get to monetize their content, more or less. It just won't be through YouTube ads. It might be through affiliate links. If they're a very resourceful person or informative person, people are trusting the information that they give. I've seen people actually make more money through affiliate links than YouTube ads. So yeah.
And like I totally agree. Like even I mean YouTube has like the best monetization structure of any
True,
social media
true,
out there.
true.
And it's still like there's still a very strong argument for brand deals or any other types of like partnerships. When I was looking into this, I saw that what was the website called? It's Influencer Marketing Hub. And they even have like a YouTube money calculator where you can like scroll and be like, if I get
Scroll,
this
just
many
like-
views a day or this like this is how much money I'll make. And looking at those amounts, I was looking at that and I'm like, that's not even close to what the big YouTube influencers are making, because obviously brand deals are such a massive part of that. And like as we've seen with like the rise of TikTok, seeing a short form video content, I know TikTok has a very, very small, a little sad monetization comparatively. But like big TikTok people aren't making their money through like monetization the same way YouTube people are. They're making it through brand deals.
True, yeah.
And even like when I was looking this up, even now like Instagram is still king of like brand deals and like influencer marketing budgets. Like so much of that is owned by like the Instagram and Reels and slowly moving into TikTok. But like that amount of money, like the billions of dollars really that we're seeing, like is all brand partnerships. So if we're comparing short and long form content, it's really hard to say that one is like better or more stable than the other in terms of income.
I think what I've noticed for TikTok is that some people are still able to get brand deals, but they have to be like smart about it. So I've seen people that their following is much more on TikTok than it is on Instagram. So they would never, approach a brand to do a brand deal for Instagram. It would be strictly for TikTok. And because their engagement is so great on TikTok, it allows them to ask for whatever they want to ask for, right? But definitely for sure, because YouTube is still that place that people go to for consuming more long form how-to videos. No one's really watching a long how-to video on TikTok. So it's really them coming on real quick, maybe showing how they use it, but no one's gonna really stick. Like if you want to see someone do like an unboxing to talk about the feature, you're gonna go to YouTube. They still have an advantage there.
And like with YouTube, it's just, well, between the two, like to your point for like the short like content for TikTok, when we're talking about monetization, like that whole aspect of YouTube just kind of living there forever and being like evergreen and like growing over time,
Yes.
I feel like when you're smart about it on TikTok and you get like a massive windfall for a brand deal, that's not going to be coming in the same way regular income would come in from YouTube views. Or I say regular, but it's still very up in the air. More regular, I would say, than like partnerships, I guess, that you're making. But no, monetization between the two is like, the more research I did, the more split I became on which one, like which format is better for monetization.
Gotcha.
Well, I think it all boils down to your strategy, really, and how you want to be smart about it, right? Because, like you said, YouTube has that evergreen content is always there. You know, a video you posted maybe in 2020 can get you a million views in 2022 because, you know, people could start searching for that kind of topic and stumble on your video. But I don't think that can happen on TikTok. Maybe not.
Well, I mean, we never know in the future, given like all that data about search. I mean, we're gonna talk about SEO later, but like about like search rising rather than being on Google than being on like social media. That's a terrible way to say that. But search increasing on social media and outperforming Google.
I think the difference would also be if people are just doing trendy videos versus the SEO related stuff, because you can still be found on TikTok, whereas someone who's just doing like trends all the time, like once the trend dies, no one cares about the trend, right? That would be the advantage of like using that same model that YouTube has in terms of evergreen content. Because remember, TikTok started off as like the dancing app, you know, trends. You jump on a trend, but now people have slowly started using it to give information, you know, level up their expertise in terms of being that trusted person that they can get people to their email or, you know, other things. So yeah.
And I think that's why brands didn't really take TikTok serious initially, because you know, they thought it was just like teens just dancing on TikTok. Like, why do I want to spend money on TikTok? Like, what am I?
That's like anytime I've been trying to make TikToks like at my company, I feel like we had like a massive conference and like I was trying to just get people to come and talk and like be on like a TikTok video, and their initial response was like, oh my God, I can't
to dance.
Like, I will not make you dance, Mr. Executive. I mean, everyone was like very, very sweet. And it's like, it's a joke, right? Like that TikTok's just about dancing. But I think in the same way that like people joked about YouTube just being like a place for like weird videos and like a strange corner of the internet, and now everyone uses it like I check the news on YouTube. Like YouTube's so legit. That exact same thing is gonna happen. Like if you want like a short piece of content, people are like, oh, like why don't you go to TikTok?
All right, next up, let's talk about virality and ROI.
This is such a good topic.
So let me give you guys a story. I think I was in a meeting somewhere, or I think it was a networking session or something, and somebody mentioned they were trying to apply for a job, and in the job description, part of the requirements is to make posts go viral.
Oh no.
So, you know, I think brands are kind of like missing the point when it comes to things going viral and, you know, trying to get return on your investment. You know, the focus should not be on how quick can we get our post to go viral. You know, you're trying to recruit somebody and you want the person to know how to make posts go viral. Like, come on.
I was looking this up like before we came on, because I wanted to like have like a little bit of a benchmark when we're talking about like viral in terms of like how many views that actually means. So many, like it's so difficult. It's like going organically viral. That is like what I would say. When I was looking this up on the Digital Marketing Institute, as like in terms of their benchmarks, they generally say that your video kind of maybe starts to go viral at 250,000 views. And then when you reach 1 million, you're like medium viral, which is, I agree with this. You're medium viral. And then when you reach upwards of 5 million, that is like true TikTok sensation takeover TikTok virality. Yeah, like that is like everywhere.
Meanwhile, I get 1,000 views and I'm like, oh, I'm famous now.
I know. And then so when brands are asking for this kind of thing, and like it's hard to request a number that big. Like, and I mean, viral is such like a like a term that's thrown around so often, but when you look at it and you find like those benchmarks for what viral actually means, it's such a big ask, and it's so hard to do. Like how can you expect someone to organically, even at the minimum of viral, getting 250,000 views is ridiculously impressive.
Yeah, and to want that on every post is just insane. Maggie, what do you have to say?
Like, I think people have gotten so obsessed with the concept of viral that I don't think people think about what some of the things might be factors for someone to go viral. Because all of the people that I've seen, or even brands that I've seen that went viral, it had like a ripple effect of other events as well. Like, it wasn't just that it was just this one video. I've known people who've gone viral because they're just extreme in like certain opinions that they have. Obviously, at some point, the videos are gonna reach, you know, if you hear someone say something outrageous that many times, eventually they're gonna get the attention that they've been wanting. So I think for brands, it's like, what are you doing that is interesting enough for you to go viral? Because if no one really cares about it, like, what, I'm supposed to just do a video about your software, this new feature? Make it make sense. What exactly do you have to offer to make it go viral?
I really love that you were saying that, because like, it kind of touches on what we were talking about before. And I feel so passionately about this, that if anybody says that you need to go viral, like my first response is like, where's the budget? Because when you are a brand, like going viral organically for anyone, not just a brand, is a lot about, as you said, like maybe radicalization, or about like the right trend at the right time. Like there's no method to do it, or we would all do it. But when you're looking at it from a marketing perspective, it is very much something that you can't necessarily predict when you go viral, but you can set up the optimal conditions. You can have a TikTok account that's like flooded with amazing content that is on trend and strategically on point. You can make partnerships with you can make massive partnerships with other influencers that cost a lot of money. And you can also just buy out ads. Like when you're on a platform, like you used the example last time we talked about Gentle Minions and like the Minion movie. Obviously that went viral. But for a very long period of time, I couldn't be on TikTok for more than 5 minutes without seeing a Minions ad. And that costs a lot of money.
Sure.
So like it set up like very good conditions, and brands that, like, I mean, we can all back this. When you invest in a platform, and like if you want to go viral on TikTok, there's no saying that you will, but you have much better chances if you're consistently posting, investing money. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it's more about setting the conditions, right? But that does not guarantee that you're going to go viral.
For sure. It is still anyone's game, which is hilarious, but also why I love this job. Living on the edge.
Okay, let's talk about SEO.
Ooh, my favorite right now.
They said people are now searching more on social media for things than on Google or search engines, right? So what do you guys have to say about that?
I kind of agree with it, just because I found myself doing it. So, perfect example, I saw a video and it was just a short clip on YouTube. And I'm like, okay, I need to see the full video. Believe it or not, I went and I typed in the topic for the video on TikTok, and I immediately got videos recommended to me until I found it. Took me like just the third post to find the original. And I was just like at this point, like they are definitely on point when it comes onto SEO, because it has even reached the point sometimes that I'll type something into Google that I'm looking for. Like I did a comparison, and it gives me a bunch of stuff that I don't even need. It's like, it's obvious that, you know, the person paid for like an ad spot or something for them to show up. So now I'm reading all this irrelevant information that I did not Google. And I'm like, this is a waste of time. I go to TikTok and boom, there is a thing. Like, I could not believe. So I've heard people say, you know, their SEO before Instagram actually started doing it, TikTok was really good at SEO. And I don't know if sometimes you'll see this in the comments. People would be like, I'm relying on the algorithm to bring me back.
Yes. Oh my
True,
God.
true.
Yes,
The
their
faith in the
algorithm.
algorithm.
I don't know. Their algorithm is definitely really good because I've never had the same thing happen on Instagram where I'll find a post. I had sometimes like, a post will refresh while I'm in the middle of watching it and I can't find that creator ever again. So, yeah.
Oh no, I absolutely and totally agree. I will also flag that I saw that TikTok is now offering, or in the process of offering, please don't fact check me, SEM ads. So
SEM what?
yeah, TikTok's
SEM
moving
ads.
into SEM. They're-
Is inevitable, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because at some point they just had to go there and get it done.
True.
So
I mean, they're
you know.
so good at it, and like I totally agree. I was initially surprised to see that finding, but then I thought about my life. That like if something's going on or if something hits the news, especially if we consider like YouTube social media, like I am not Googling and then like getting an SEM ad popping up, and like that's not what I want. So I think SEO is like a really interesting space. But I will say, in terms of short form versus long form, YouTube, with their connection to Google, I think, has a
Still.
really
Definitely.
strong starting
Yeah.
off point. Like I do feel like TikTok, even though they're awesome, they are still following in like YouTube's footsteps and have a lot of catching up to do in that area.
And
Yeah.
of course, like if Google is going to bring out videos for something you're searching on Google, it's definitely going to be, if Google is going to bring out videos, it's definitely going to be YouTube videos.
YouTube video, yeah.
Oh, for sure. And this is
Right,
also like, I'm making this assumption based on the data that was put out discluding YouTube from like Google search. If it includes YouTube in Google search, then I am absolutely wrong. But like,
Well, it's always said that they do it, but sometimes they say that they don't do it, But again, Google, YouTube,
yeah,
are they
it really is.
Are they going to show you TikTok videos first or show YouTube videos?
Exactly. You'll never, yeah, you'll definitely have to probably type in TikTok first to even
Oh,
find
That's
exactly.
something, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I'm looking
maybe-
for a TikTok video, like I would not go to like Google in that
No.
end. But
You
I,
know,
yeah. But I will say, like, even finding sounds, finding like trends, like even if I want to create a video and like I'll look up like my favorite TV show because like I'll be trying to get like a sound bite like from TikTok. It's just so smart and
Yeah.
so easy to navigate. I'm like incredibly impressed with their SEO, and I think that it's only going to help like in their move to long form content, and as creators grow on the platform, like that's what's going to keep creators on the platform. SEO is like the way to ensure, because the creators are going to burn out at this rate. If it's only short form content, same as Vine, creators aren't going to be able to maintain that like 3 videos a day for the rest of their life. Absolutely not.
yeah, that's
So, like,
true.
SEO really is moving into that space where they can become a more, at least in my opinion, like a more solid platform that can like outlast that burnout.
I was just going to say something about what Maggie talked about when she searched something on Google and something that was irrelevant came up, right? Again, that's talking about, even if it's not really on topic what we're talking about, right?
When you're running SEM ads, you need to make sure that the keywords you are using, which is the search query that people are going to put into the search engine to obviously find something, you need to make sure that those keywords are relevant to the pages that come up in the search results. So for instance, what Maggie, the example Maggie talked about, that she searched for something and it was not relevant to what came up. So those things are very important, because if I search for something and the result comes out and has the header that matches what I'm searching for, then I click on it and it opens up a page that has something entirely different from what I'm searching for, I'm just going to bounce. So that would, at the end of the day, not even help your bounce rate. So,
so I was watching something, I think it was 2 days ago, and it was about landing page optimization. And, he was watching a video and an ad popped up and he clicked on it. I see a demo now. And when he went to the landing page, like, everything was there other than the demo.
Oh my God.
Do you understand? So that is a different conversation entirely, but it's just trying to make sure that things are relevant. Then also I did a search on TikTok looking for things to do in summer, right?
Mhm.
And although I agree with what's happening on TikTok now, but the only issue I had was that the things that kept on coming up were past events.
So not future. Okay.
Yeah. So whereas if I'm searching on Google, I'm going to see things that are upcoming.
I think it's because people aren't making content for it. So
Yeah.
I think that's one of the other disadvantage with TikTok is that because it's short form, it's still short form, even captions, people are now becoming a bit more smart to make their captions more SEO friendly. And
Mhm.
sometimes they'll use that with like the text with their keywords, but also hashtags. So I think that's also something I've seen people been doing more of, but that could be one of the reasons because that has happened to me before. I wanted to see an event that's upcoming, maybe to get more information. And I had to, of course, still go to Google because a blog post outlined that for me in advance. So yeah. But another point that you touched on with making your keywords relevant, this is something that YouTubers have to also be aware of, especially when they use certain tools like vidIQ or TubeBuddy. I use them for my videos, and sometimes the program will like recommend to you as like keywords to use, and you know in your heart that has nothing to do with your video. And you go put it in there, trust me, you will see the effects on your video when the click rate is saying something. So you'll get people to click on it, but like your watch time, people
It's
are
going to
not
drop.
watching
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
enough
Yeah.
because you didn't provide what they were actually clicking
Yeah.
for. So that's another thing people could get, like you can put all the keywords you want, but if it's not what people are looking for, your content
They're
is
just
going to
going to skip.
suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Or maybe
interesting like use case you bring up, because I'm also like thinking about like when you're talking about like searching for something that's happening in the future and how like a blog post makes more sense. It made me think of like the timeliness of TikTok and how most people, like if they're going to be talking about an event, like they're going to recap it at TikTok because their moment is being at the event. And that's like that's like the capturable, snackable content versus like it's much harder, I guess, in a video beforehand to like talk about what's coming up. And like you see it with like TikTok videos all the time where people talk about like maybe they're about to launch a live or about to do a giveaway or like anything going into the future. It's not as sticky on the platform as something that's happening like right now.
Yeah.
Oh, pros and cons, see?
And we are not there yet. You know what? Let's just jump right into pros and cons.
Oh my God. Okay. I think our next topic on accessibility is like a huge, when I was thinking about like what my final decision would be, a lot of it had to do with accessibility. So
Okay. So let's go right to accessibility. So yeah, Dina, go ahead.
I am not on YouTube. I am on TikTok. This is my bias. I want to make sure everybody knows that before I say what I'm about to say. I do not own a professional video camera. This microphone and my laptop and my smartphone is as high tech as it gets, and I cannot work Adobe. All of these things considered, I love how accessible TikTok is. I did not need any like video editing. Like I've been able to grow, albeit a very small following in like a very specific niche, like a community incredibly quickly with videos that take me a small amount of effort compared to what I put into other social media growth strategies. And I think it just makes for the most amazing community when you don't have those barriers to entry that like can be very expensive and very skills based. So I do find a really strong community on TikTok that like I don't know if I would find on some other platforms just because of how many skills, like in comparison to YouTube when we're looking at short form, long form video content specifically. Like I don't know if I'd be able, like one, I wouldn't be able to do this on YouTube. I don't know if the community.
You could do YouTube shorts.
Yeah, I could do shorts, just an entire account of shorts. But like with that in mind, I also publish 3 videos a day, and that's like a different type of strain in terms of accessibility. Yeah, why thank you. That applause goes straight to my heart. I appreciate it. It's a lot. And I know like YouTube's not the same, but growing a platform, regardless of what you do, takes a lot of content and consistency. And long form content is obviously the dream because it'd be nice to, rake in some passive income from my videos. But it's like legitimately just not an option for me right now.
Mhm.
So in lieu of that, I think TikTok and like all short form platforms. I mean, I really loved Instagram for a long time too, until it got a little bit wacky. Don't hate it, but I definitely do not see the same growth on Instagram. But yeah, I just think that it makes it such an interesting case and study for short form content, because in a way, like when you think about virality, when you think about trends, when you think about even like communicating news and information, oftentimes like you're relying on short form content for those kinds of things, which are so essential to not just how social media works, but a lot of how society works in this day and age.
Mhm.
Like informing trends, like you don't see trends coming up on YouTube. Like when you see something trendy, it's on TikTok, and that's because it facilitates it in a way that like short form content can reach so many people, such a large diverse group of people in like a very quick time span.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm actually glad that you mentioned TikTok, because as someone who does have a YouTube channel,
Mhm.
well, actually two, and has TikTok
Wow.
account, I can honestly say that TikTok definitely makes it easier in terms of accessibility. And I agree with you in terms of building that community. Like, I have a second channel that I just started last month, and listen, the growth is very slow, you know. And I just looked at YouTube, I mean TikTok, when I started taking it seriously. At the time I was just posting one video a day, and I did that. I dedicated like a month where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna post at least one video a day. And I saw the community grow. Like, people are actually, I'm seeing people who come back as well to videos. I can recognize people by name. They're creators that do similar content to me, where we're DMing each other, looking at ways to collab for longer form content, like on my YouTube channel. So it's been very good for that. And what you said is true. And I don't care what anyone wants to say. There's kind of like this fake positivity that people do on YouTube, where they're like, you don't need this, that, and the third. And it's like, you say that, but then your video quality is like, they have one jump cut, and the storytelling where they have to do all this work of setting up a camera at the front to act like they just woke up, like especially if they do vlogs, right? There's a
Yeah.
camera there while they wake up.
Mhm.
Then
Think
they
about
have
that
to
all the time.
then they got to move
Mhm.
the camera in another angle. So it's all of these factors of you having to storytell. I find that even on TikTok, people talk about storytelling, but you literally can be in your house on your couch just talking about life. I've done TikTok videos where I was on a walk, and whatever came to my mind on that topic that I'm passionate about, I don't think that I would feel the same confidence to do that on YouTube. Like, I find myself trying to find a spot. It has to be very quiet, and the aesthetic, yeah, because everyone who is going on YouTube right now, people are upgrading their camera. So even camera wise, I stopped using my old one, and I used my iPhone 13 Pro, just because it has that feature to blur out the background that a lot of new cameras have with 4K and all of that. So
Yeah.
I understand what you mean, because I've seen people with not the best camera quality that are killing it on TikTok. Okay.
Exactly. And like on YouTube, that'll affect like almost your legitimacy, like on YouTube. Like
I find
if
it depends on the content. It has to be a very specific content, where I feel like if the person has not the best audio or camera quality, it's like their personality is like something about their content. They're probably doing like very interesting story times. But as someone, like, if you're a professional, you're trying to gain that kind of trust from people to get clients via your social media, your YouTube channel, it's a bit different.
Yeah, well, to your point, I was just thinking in terms of like, seeing as I'm not on YouTube, but I just watch a lot of, like, I go to YouTube if I need like a how-to, or like if I like, there are some vloggers I watch and stuff like that. And so if I were to like search something on YouTube, like how to clean an air conditioner or something like that, and the video wasn't of a great quality, my trust would immediately decline.
I think we have now been conditioned to look out for great quality videos on YouTube, and if you don't find it, you don't trust the content, right? You know, and again, that now puts pressure on the creators for them to, like, if you don't have a 4K Sony 25 megapixel camera, if you don't have lighting, you know, reflector, all those things.
Even like a stabilizer. If I'm watching like someone vlog and it's like too shaky, I'll immediately be like, no, cannot do that.
But with that said, though, like, that should not stop people. Like, if you feel you just want to get going and just do something, because I have a couple of friends that I've always wanted to start creating content and this stuff, and they always like to make sure that things are perfect. And I'm like, just get started.
Yeah.
How I started my podcast, like I always wanted to do a podcast, and one day I just downloaded, can't remember the name of the app now, and I just recorded something on my phone and just posted it. I'm like, done. Yeah, like that's just get started, right? You make it up along the way. And what I'm doing is the initial content that I post on several platforms, right? I'm never going to delete it, so people could see the story,
the process. Yeah.
That okay, this was how it started up, with one crappy podcast, and all of that. They say, okay, we're bringing up people. And guess what? For instance, I also have a YouTube, but again, it's just growing slowly because, like we said, it's all about your consistency rather than even the content.
Yeah.
Right. Even if you have crappy content, you need to be consistent with the crappy content.
Yes, you do.
And it was, for instance, right now, my biggest following are from Ukraine and Russia on YouTube. Right. And I think the video was talking about, one of the videos I talked about metrics for SaaS companies, marketing metrics for SaaS companies. And I'm like, okay, how did that do so well? And I'm like, oh, okay, not a problem. I moved on. But again, TikTok makes it easy. We're talking the last time I told you guys how I create content on TikTok. So step one, I get my phone, open up my Google recorder. I find a great speech from Steve Jobs or somebody. I record it, turn it into a video, go to TikTok, upload it, put the music, and boom, content done.
Honestly, that's like still so many more steps than I take. Like at my lunch break, I just sit and I look at because I like my niche is in books because I'm writing a book. So I'll just sit and be like, what is the best enemies to lovers book you've ever read? And then that's it.
Let them converse in the comments and
people debate. People go to bat for their favorites. My engagement rate goes up. It's awesome.
That's true. And I appreciate what you said about not waiting for it to be perfect, because I believe even for myself, when I started my first channel, like my approach is a bit different with the second. I'm trying to get out of my head a bit, I will admit. With my first channel, it was a $300 camera. I just did my research, saw alternatives to what I could afford, because that's the other thing. I think people focus too much on getting advice from their faves. Like, your faves has the money.
Yeah,
you don't got the money yet. So, try and find alternatives. So if they're telling me about a Rode mic, I'm going to find a Rode knockoff. If the sound quality is good enough and it gets the job done for the time, then I can continue to make content to eventually help me leverage to get brand deals, or maybe my brand deals won't look the way as the average person, but I can safely say for myself, I have been able to do certain partnerships with brands that allowed me to then invest that money into my channel for subscriptions, for, buying new equipment, all these different things. And when it comes down to editing too, like, y'all, you don't need Adobe, okay? There are other editing.
True, agree.
There are other ones out there, okay? Adobe is for like the pros of the pros. Even myself shy away from it, but there are different apps out there to use as well. And I believe through this conversation is definitely a motivation for me to be a bit more open to sharing that type of content, because people probably aren't aware that Adobe isn't the only one. So thanks for the push.
I mean, you've been sharing some great gems. Advice for like making content, so that I've just kept in my back pocket now.
So what I use to edit my YouTube videos is Wondershare Filmora. Like, this is not an ad though, but that's what I use.
Yeah, not an ad, but if you want to sponsor, shout out to Joe over here. Yes, I use it too, and I'm 6 years in the game. I still use it because it works. It's easy. I mean, if I want to do something more elaborate, maybe I could go towards another app, but also it's affordable, right? I'm sure you can agree with that. You buy it one time. Other apps, they charge you for the year, like almost $400. So depending on the level of investment you want to go with in the beginning, there are options for you to use.
Just to get started.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
I think that's really, really amazing advice. I realized as I was talking about like YouTube and stuff, it definitely made it seem intimidating.
Oh no, but you're right to do that, because
Maggie,
No, you're right to do that.
Let us
People need
create
to know
let
the
us create a
truth.
YouTube channel for dinner right now.
I don't think anything is wrong with being truthful about your perception, because if that's the way it's perceived to you, then it's up to the people who are in that space then to then be honest about maybe how they started. Because what happens is maybe you're just seeing some channels when they were up and good quality as we would consider it. You can go back to their old videos, you can see the progress, but that's the problem. Some of us, we only
Most of
find
them take down those old videos.
that too. That's another problem. If they take down the videos, then of course we can't see it.
You know, when people are doing, it also happens again on Instagram, right? When people are
Cleaning up.
branding,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
They
because they
take
don't
out-
want to have as many posts.
Yeah, they take out the old posts from 2013 where they were crappy content or crappy quality videos. And I'm like, it's good to show people the process.
Yeah.
I will
Right.
fully admit to taking off my high school photos from Instagram.
That is warranted, okay?
No, you could do that. High school photos, yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, I have gone back. I have audited my Facebook and my Instagram.
We don't
Those
need
images
anyone
are
blackmailing us with this on our birthday,
Absolutely not.
Oh,
Well,
man.
it's just showing that process because nobody started out with a 4K quality
Absolutely
video,
not.
whatnot, right? People started off with what? iPhone 7.
Gosh, those days.
You get,
I am honestly very excited though for the day that iPhone, because I film most of my content on TikTok sitting at my desk. The minute they make as elaborate a front camera as they do a back camera, I don't even know if this is in their product plan, but that's my wish list from Apple. I think that would be my like immediate buy from Apple.
maybe iPhone 20.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't have to wait too long.
Oh my god.
Oh,
They're
man.
not just going to release all the features on one phone, right? They got to
Yeah,
have something to release next year now, right?
that's how they take our money. Keep it up, Apple.
I mean, I guess I feel like we answered this question. This is a safely Apple over Android chat right now, so we have a little bit of
Well,
He has an
well,
Android, I think.
well, I'm on the Pixel team, right?
I've heard
Right.
good things. I've heard good things about Pixel. Like
No, Pixel is amazing. in
their
terms
I've seen
of-
quality,
their ads.
their camera
Yeah,
quality is good. It's just that the
camera.
apps. I think the apps, because of the phone it's made for as first, I think it's a bit biased to Androids. That's the only issue. But their cameras are actually, if not better than
Yeah,
Apple.
if
sometimes.
you truly want to experience Android in its truest element, definitely a Pixel.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
I enjoy all of their advertising. I really like their brand. I think they did like a great.
Yeah, talking about brand, yes, they do.
I
it
see
right.
their ads on YouTube all the time, unsurprisingly.
Mhm, mhm. So yeah, they I really like that brand. They do well with all the brand elements, adverts and stuff, right?
Nice.
That's the idea, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so down to
Oh,
the choice. So what would you pick, long form or short form? It depends.
yeah. But I think for right now, because there's only so much time in the day, and one of my goals is eventually to not feel like a slave to these apps and their requirements. So I think that's like the biggest thing, because even for someone who does long form content, something that a lot of us has preach is, batch your content. But then sometimes it's hard to batch your content because the minute you make a video about something, it just changes 2 weeks later, and that's maybe when you had the video ready for. So there's like upsides to being able to, yes, you can batch content and all of that, but still sometimes you have to be doing stuff that is based on the relevancy and being the trends if there's a certain goal you want to hit. But for right now, your girl is team short form, just because it's a little bit of a little headache. I can just say what I want, put on my little text, post,
And boom.
and I post.
Honestly,
Zina, what about you?
I am the exact same. I would love to be in a place where I do not have to post 3 videos a day to my TikTok, but like short form right now is making the world go round. It's growing my audience. I mean, I also have like a long-term objective to turn my short form content driver, which is TikTok, into like an email list, which is like more like community-based, longer form content and
Yeah.
loyalty. So like, I mean, my objectives personally are just growing a community as fast and as large as I can. And if that's your objective, short form really lends to that. So, I mean, long form content, I think, is always smart for brands to do and to have in their back pocket, because that's going to be the thing that like really makes them money over time. But like having short form content that like boosts your brand and like makes you seen and like puts you in the middle of conversations, and like it's invaluable. It's what makes or breaks great brands. And so while I think every brand should have like some form of long form content, I think the really, really great ones like succeed at having amazing presences for short form content.
True.
Okay, short form. So for me,
He's gonna balance it out now.
so for me, I always feel that both content formats have their purpose, right? And being that we're making this podcast, and obviously this podcast is definitely a long form.
Yes, it is.
So I'm going to go in the way of long form, right? And the plans I have for the future of this podcast is, of course, it also goes on YouTube, is to break it down into short form content, 30 seconds. But again, the idea is put it up on TikTok and maybe some reels on Instagram, but we're still going to drive traffic back to YouTube or the podcast. So definitely going to be using both long form and short form. So for me right now, short form would be the clickbait to get people interested. Find one very good snippet of what we talked about right now, put it up on TikTok, then drive people to where they need to go. So I'm team long form.
Awesome. And maybe just to, for people who are thinking, it's like if you have both, such as myself, long form is still good to have for evergreen, which was mentioned before, but then short form is also good to redirect them back to it. So if you ever burn out, you feel too tired to do like long form content, then just make smaller form or repurpose your long form. Repurpose. And drive them to the videos, because I definitely can
Maggie,
say
it seems you have a story to tell us about repurposing content.
I would say repurpose smartly. Like, is that the word, smartly? So you can't just take the same way you would put it on Instagram and think it will work on TikTok. Like, make it native to the feed. And this will all work in experimenting. So if you feel like the demeanor as well, the tone wasn't fitting for TikTok, you just quickly re-record that 15-second part on your phone and post it to no biggie, because that's happened sometimes. I look at videos and I'm like, this would be great to repurpose, but not for TikTok. I could use it for Facebook and, drive with the link, letting them know directly where to go to watch the full video. Instagram, I could also do that, but with TikTok, I think because TikTok has more of storytelling from your experience, I can leverage my storytelling to then say, by the way, I did a video on it on my YouTube channel. Click the link in my bio. Peace.
Makes sense. Nice. Dina, do you have anything to add?
I feel like now, because I am very much in team short form, I'm feeling a little lonely over here now.
No, I'm still on. I'm still on short form. I'm still there. I'm still short form. Okay.
No, but I mean, I love what you're saying, and I love the idea of like repurposing content. But like, I think it's really great what you said about making it native to the feed, because that's something that like, I mean, I've made like, of course, because I'm in social media, I post on LinkedIn about social media. I made a post about this before, and I realized that I use every single social media I'm on so differently, not just in like the content formats, but like the content itself. Because like, I don't talk about like my fiction writing and on like Instagram or like I definitely don't do it on LinkedIn. And like on my TikTok, I don't talk about being a social media expert, and like, because it just works out better in like different niches thrive on different platforms, and obviously different like content formats. Like I don't post videos on LinkedIn at all, and yet I publish 3 a day on TikTok, and it's just so vastly different.
I want to get to the point where I'm publishing 3 videos on TikTok.
I will say it is very lo-fi. There is it is not high tech. It is very, very simple. Like I do want to create like better, more complicated content in the future, but you always see like creators talking about how they'll put so much effort into a video and then it'll flop. And so for me, strategically, because consistency is the name of the game, I'm mitigating my risk by like trying to keep my content very strategically easy to execute. And honestly, I'm banking a lot of my community on just like my personality. Like that is what I can celebrate now.
True.
So, like in terms of like different platforms, like I know a lot of people who will make TikTok videos about being a career expert, then they'll put that on LinkedIn and it'll totally work out because it's like the same content like thrives on on those platforms and in the mediums that they do it. But I mean, like I've seen, especially like moving through the different platforms, like even if we're comparing TikTok and YouTube again for short form to long form, there's even a difference on like the speed at which you speak. And like that will highly affect like your content. And if you're like rapid fire on YouTube, people are going to be so tired. Like you can't do that. And so like when you say repurpose smartly, I think that that's so key because some things, just based on the way that the platforms and algorithms work, like sometimes it can hit, but sometimes it'll just be totally wrong. And like that's just something, again, I mean, we are experts in our field, so it feels really sad to say just trial and error, but there's really no better
here's what I'll say to that: to reduce the pressure on social media people that have to create content and for businesses and stuff. My strategy is create content for the business, right? And social media will be a beneficiary of the content. So don't focus so much on creating content for social media and people are just running up and down looking for what do we post for this month, what do that. So create enough content for the business, right? Focus on things that, what does the business do? What questions are your target market asking? You know, how can you sell your product? Well, how are you communicating? What is your service? You know, telling the story about what you're doing, your history, your present, where you're going to as a brand. You know, when you have that content cluster, I don't think you'll ever run out of what to make and what to post for social media. And there's something called zero waste marketing, because that is making sure that every content produced and created for the business is used across all your channels, right? You know, so it's been interesting having this conversation with you guys. So let me give you guys some few seconds to let us know where you are across the internet. All your channels. Where do you want people to follow you and how can they find you?
Very true. Maggie, do you want to go first? Like, which social media to lead people to?
All right. So on YouTube, you can find me at Optimistic Maggie. Actually, I do a lot of content related to social media. If you're looking for how to level up your social media without feeling burnt out, all of that is going to be on my YouTube channel. And LinkedIn, it's Margaret Leanne, or you can probably find my name in the show notes somewhere.
Yes. I'm going to have it listed in the description, so definitely. Gina, go ahead.
Well, seeing as this is a social media professional podcast, I will drive to my LinkedIn. I do post almost every day about like social media news and insights, my hot takes, and also a lot about mental health and wellness because it's very important to me. And you can find me under Deanna, Deanna, Jade Duxbury, Duxbury. My name also in the show notes. So if you didn't catch it, you can honestly just copy and paste. And to a lesser extent, if anyone is interested in fantasy, folklore, and fairy tale retelling novels, seeing as that's my other very small niche that I don't know if I'd expect any listeners to really be in it, but I'm on TikTok as Deanna Wants to Be an Author.
Nice. Okay. So definitely I'm going to be putting that in the description so people could find you and follow you, reach out to you for any collaboration or whatnot. So thank you guys for coming to this podcast. It's been a blast.
Thank you for having us.
Let's do it again.
Anytime.
Yes.
So thank you guys for listening. This is Evangel. This is One Thing About Life. Until next time, stay frosty.
One thing about life is